All right, all right. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? My name is Phil Jones, Mike Jones. Have you guys know me personally or professionally? And welcome to another exciting episode of the Extraordinary Man Podcast. I'm your host, as I said, Phil Jones, one half of the Extraordinary Man Podcast. So today, I want to have a conversation with people, and I think that it's a highly essential conversation to have. And it's about why are we so reluctant to try our hands at being the boss? A lot of us have a lot of skills. A lot of us come from communities where we have a lot of skills. No matter what the situation is, I don't think that we actually take the time to really try our hand and see what we're made of. The thing is that I believe that there's a comfort and a complacency that's had with just accepting going to go get a job. Nothing wrong with going to go get a job. I have a job. Anybody who's been following the podcast for any extended period of time, they know I have a job. I have no problem with that. But I also feel that one of the Achilles heels is complacency. Getting to a place to where you're just so willing to settle for just whatever somebody throws on the table. I got enough. I'm good. But you have skills. You have very good skills, very workable skills, yet you don't feel that it's time for you to extend those skills and take them to the next level. Well, what is this next level that I'm talking about? I'll give you an example. I know a lot of people who are musicians, and them being musicians, a lot of them, they have a lot of skills. I mean, phenomenal musicians. They spend so much time chasing after having somebody else distribute their product for them. They spend so much time trying to find labels and trying to find these odd end deals rather than saying, okay, well, why don't you want to actually own your product? And I believe that a lot of them have been trained to believe that that's the only way to do things, that the road of independence either A is too hard, B is too time consuming, or C, they can't maximize the benefit. I'm not 100% sure where it lies or if there's a spectrum between why people do what they do. But one thing that I can say for sure is that having raw talent and having ability and doing with those abilities what needs to be done only can benefit you in the long run. As I sit here and I look at so many talented people who create things just off of the power of their mind, just off of the strength of what they think and how they feel, I see them cutting themselves so short, so absolutely short. And just the thought of knowing that you have a specific skill set that everybody else in the world doesn't have, or that there's a specific few have, and you're willing to put a cap on that or put any level of limitation on that, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me so much so that it makes me wonder, where are we with what we do in this life? How did we get here? How do we get to a place to where the spirit of owning something is no longer in majority of the people? How did we get to this place to where being somebody that just was settled for the gold watch and the retirement party? When did we get to that place to where that was the mission? I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I do believe that everybody that it's not for everybody. Everybody's lane is not to go into some level of entrepreneurship. Everybody's lane is not to try their hand at the dice. And I get it. I do, honestly. But I do believe that we have to really look at stuff on a grander scale. What we don't build, the next generation cannot benefit from. When I go to work every day, and this is one of the things that stays on my mind, when I go to work every day, my children can only benefit passively from what I do. Yeah, there's money that I make, life insurance policy that's getting paid into, health insurance. They benefit passively. But what happens when they get to a place to where they're ready to enter the workforce? They have nothing. They have to go out here and they have to figure it out for themselves. I don't have the ability to go and say, hey, son, hey, daughter, Come work for the family company. Come help build this. Go to school, earn your degree, and take what you learn and invest it back into the family business so that we can create it and make it bigger than what it is. I believe that that's one of the major opportunities that's being left on the table or left off the table is because we don't truly believe in ourselves. And again, not all. Don't want to get into the not all business. Don't want the not all police coming after me. But I do believe consequently that we do find ourselves in situations to where we do not truly value the talent that we have, the skills that we acquire or the skills that we possess. And I'm sorry, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be one of those people that when I pass on, the only thing that I've left is a lump sum of money. Only thing I left was a life insurance policy. That's it. My kids have nothing that they can live off of. My spouse has nothing that she can live off of outside of money. You know, when you're building a legacy, and it's like, I really truly believe that this is a part of what we're supposed to be doing is that we build a legacy. It's not just in our work ethic and it's not just in our deeds, but it's in what we acquire over time, those skills that we acquire over time. For somebody that's a auto mechanic, like I love using as an example because it's a priceless skill. Are you teaching your children how to utilize that skill so that they themselves can secure income off of it? Are you taking them and showing them, even if they choose not to use it, but they have it in their tool belt as a means of earning for themselves? I don't see a lot of us being willing to go the extra mile and ensure that our children have skills. I see it to where it's like, okay, well, we work, I work, I come home, I pay the bills. You know, a lot of times I sit and I look at my daughter and I feel that she takes things for granted. Not necessarily because of the fact that she's unappreciative, but because you have no real understanding of what it is I do every day when I walk out the door. I just come home, you go to school, I go to work, you come home, lights on, water is running, cars outside full of gas, food is in the refrigerator. But the only thing that you know about what it is that I do is that I leave for X amount of hours per day, X times per week. And then I come back with a paycheck every other Wednesday, every other Friday, depending on the pay structure. And then now I do this over and over again until you reach a certain age. And then all of a sudden, I expect for you to go out into the world and go repeat the process of just going to go get a job. When if I was using the skills that I've acquired to teach you how to do something, I could have been preparing you better over time. If you think about it, like look at something like credit. You don't have to wait until your child is eligible to get a credit card to teach them about credit. You can sit down with them every day, like, hey, this is how I pay my credit card bill. This is how I use it. I don't ever use more money than I have available when it comes down to my credit cards. If I don't have it or I won't have it in the foreseeable future, I'm not going to run it up because then I'm owing a balance and then I have the interest payments and all the rest of the red tape that comes along with that. But when it comes down to the skills and the things that we work on with our own hands, we neglect the fact that I can teach you what I do with the money, but I'm not teaching you how to earn it for yourself. I'm not giving you anything. And and there's another part to that. I believe that when it comes down to the option of ownership, we feel safer because somebody else has done the hard work. Somebody else has already built what we consider like the term job security is asinine. If we're looking around at the state of the economy right now, the term job security is so absolutely asinine because there are people getting laid off left and right. Very good Silicon Valley jobs being laid off left and right. So there are people who have these skills that rely on the safety and security of what Google has built or what ABC IT firm has built. And those guys are without work right now or have to downsize or subsidize their living to take a job that wasn't paying as much. And they keep repeating the process and the process and the process. And as the rise of AI comes around, it starts to make certain things that you do obsolete. It starts to make certain functions that you do not as valuable as what they were. So why are we not going for broke? Why are we not taking those IT skills and those cybersecurity skills and saying, you know what, I'm going to start my own firm. I'm going to get with a collection of me and other talented people that I know, and we're going to pull our resources together and build ourselves. I'm still trying to figure out why is it that so many well-paid athletes have not formed their own teams or their own leagues so that they can do for the players what the league does not do for the players. It's just like the dream is, let me get into the league. The dream is about satisfying my first name and not my last. It's not about satisfying my community. It's about satisfying myself. It's about self-indulgence. That quote was from Dame Dash, by the way. Just want to make sure I put that out there. We have to look at things in terms. And one of the biggest things that I can ever say in his lifetime is that money, everybody's getting money. Don't matter what you're doing, legally, illegally, doesn't matter if you flipping burgers at the lowest part of the pay scale or if you're at the highest priced attorney or the most exclusive doctor, physician, or whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're at the bottom of the field or the top of the field, everybody's getting money. The question is, how do you take from what you do and put yourself in a position to where you can ensure that your children will have skills to pay the bills? That's what I ask. So are we afraid to become our own bosses? That's probably a stretch. Little clickbait, maybe. Are we afraid? Who knows? But what I'm really looking at is there's so many of us that make so many excuses. I talk to so many people on a regular basis that they just have so many reasons why not. And it's just like, okay, depending on what your state is, starting an LLC or a sole proprietorship or whatever have you, getting a tax ID number is free. Acquiring business credit, depending on where your credit score is or what you got going on, is not that expensive. It's not really that big of a process to do. So getting started is not the hard part. If you have the skills, then you just start muscling the skills and breaking the skills in slowly but surely, slowly but surely. Over time, you will get to a place to where you learn how to make money with the skill. But a lot of us are not looking at that. We're trying to align ourselves in non-strategic partnerships to avoid the hard work of having to grit and grind and put ourselves in position. I'm looking at things to say, if this podcast that I'm recording right now blows up and it turns into something massive, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do with the money. I'm thinking about how can I take what I've learned how to do that acquires some level of wealth and teach it to my child. How can I sit her right here and say, this is what I did, these are the steps that I took, this is how consistent I was with it, and this was the outcome. Not that it's a guarantee for everybody who does it, but it is a proven system that if I've done it, that means it can be done. That means that if you replicate a winning system over and over again, guess what? It's a continuous winning system. The well may dry up and it might be time to transition, but no matter what, you take these things that you have, and especially with the next generation, they always are up on the latest technology, the latest innovations. Certain things that I don't know how to do, my daughter can go into a cell phone and just edit videos and edit things in ways that I never thought of. Never even considered it. But to this generation, it's the normal. It's the way that things are done. So where I would sit in Photoshop for hours on end, she doesn't have to do that. She can go into CapCut Pro and she can do certain things with certain apps on a cell phone that would take me days to do in Photoshop or Adobe Premiere or the like. She can do in a cell phone in a couple of hours. And that's amazing to me. So if you take from what I've done and you instill that into the next generation, and then they incorporate how things are being done today, there's no telling how much further it can blossom. If you were a doctor 50 years ago and then you send your son to medical school, yeah, the way that we do medicine or the way that we do things as far as telehealth and as far as the various ways that we're doing medicine these days versus how it was done this day, you give them a leg up because they have an understanding of where it was and they have an understanding of where it's going. But you don't leave them in the dust. Money is just money. Money is just money. It has no value outside of its ability to spend and buy. It makes money, it does other things, fine. But what about the skill? Investing money is a skill. Understanding how to take money and make more money is a skill. So if you're in the t-shirt business, if you're in the music business, whatever it is that you do professionally, however, like whatever, you're a jeweler, I don't care what it is, when you take from that thing and you teach somebody else how to take that thing that you know how to do and grow it and turn it into a business, there's no limits on what you can make. I'm sorry. I'm 38 years old. I've lived a sufficient amount of my life for somebody telling me that my work is worth XYZ dollars per hour. When the truth is, the person sitting in a cubicle right next to me, or the person with that's doing the exact same job as me, may not be as skilled as me. They may not desire to be as skilled as me. They may be lackluster, but they get the same paycheck as me because we hold the same title. And that to me is crazy. I don't know if anybody's ever heard this statistic before, but 20% of a business is responsible for 80% of the output. Your highest, most competitive people are responsible for the reason that a company stays afloat. If you've never heard that statistic, I encourage you to look it up. Understand that it's a very strong minority of people that create everything. Relate that to the subject at hand as far as being your own boss, starting your own businesses and getting things off the ground. There's a minority of people who are starting the companies that are employing the majority. There's a small subset of people who are building the companies that are giving the opportunities to people. I feel that my company grows. I don't want you to be a lifelong employee for me. I want you to come in, I want you to learn. And then I want to set you up. And then we do business together. I want you to be a lifelong employee to me. I don't think that that's right. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it makes sense to anybody to do that. I think honestly and subsequently you find yourself in these situations to where you settle for things that you don't really need to be settling for. I'm just at a place to where my desires to see more people bet on themselves is at an all-time high. As I'm on the brink of graduating, which I talk about a lot, while I'm on the brink of graduation, one of the most important things in the world to me is that I take from what I've learned and what I've acquired and I give it back. I'm going to say that again because I need it to resonate. As I'm on the brink of graduation, everything that I have learned and everything that I have acquired, I feel it's my duty and responsibility to give it back. So as I'm sitting here having this conversation with you, I'm not just flying off the hip telling you guys, oh, well, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. I have structures in line. I went to school to learn the background on how to do things properly. And now I'm going to take from that and using it. I've learned and I understood marketing. I learned and I understood promo, the way I put my background together, the things that I'm saying on here, how to properly orate, how to properly speak on this microphone. Hell, I just bought this microphone, this beautiful thing right here. I just bought this last night because I learned how to understand aesthetics. I learned how to understand what people value when they look at stuff. What you're talking about, it needs to match. You can't be dressed like a bum and dressed wrinkly and looking crazy and completely disheveled and talking to people about money, finance, business, and otherwise. Nobody will take you serious. So we have to understand that certain things have to match. So as I learn these skills and as I learn these things, I understand about presentation, about how to properly orate, how to properly say things, how to properly express myself without and otherwise. I'm learning that this is how you communicate with people on the grand scale. I want to be as transparent with everybody as humanly possible. And in this skill, as far as how to be able to get through a conversation, how to be able to just come off the top of a conversation with the pieces that I've researched and just go, that's a skill. Your favorite bloggers, your favorite people who stand behind mics, some people, they have to chop up videos because they make so many mistakes, and others can just go because they have a gift to be able to speak clearly and articulate themselves without stumbling and fumbling. That is a skill, but it's a skill that can be taught. Enhancing vocabulary, reading more, adding more tools to your tool belt can put you in a position to where you can be a sufficient orator. And that's something I believe is valuable. It's extremely valuable in these social media streets. So now the way that I'm looking at things is take from what you do, pass it on, pass it on to your children, pass it on to your loved ones, show them the way. It may not be a perfect system today, but you don't know what it will be tomorrow. Show them the way. Anyway, guys, that's my time today for this particular segment of the Extraordinary Man podcast. I hope you guys got value out of it. If so, make sure to leave a like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, whatever have you, and just let us know what it is that you think about the content thus far. Things are changing, things are growing, the feng shui and everything is going to get better and better and better over time. And as always, we definitely appreciate the fact that you tune in. This is Phil Jones coming to you guys live in effect as always. Peace.